Hello viewers, thank you for joining us. Today we'll be discussing postpartum depression. What is postpartum depression? Who can be affected by postpartum depression? What are the symptoms of postpartum depression? And what are the supports that could be given to someone who's already experiencing this form of depression? Those are the basic things we'll be discussing today. My name is Wale Aminu. I'm a clinical psychologist. Postpartum depression is a form of mood affective disorder. This form of depression, which is postpartum, affects mothers after the child is born, and that's why we call it postnatal or postpartum depression. According to the World Health Organization statistics, 1 in every 7 mothers would experience postpartum depression. Okay, and then this amounts to about, in the more civilized world, such as America, it amounts to about 600,000 women being or experiencing postpartum depression after their child is born annually. Okay, so that's basically what postpartum depression is. This form of depression can affect daily functioning of the mother. That is, it makes it difficult for the mother to be able to give adequate nursing and child care. Aside being able to care for her baby, such a mother would also not be able to function as a wife to her husband. Basically, depression takes away all forms of activity and plunges the woman into a form of withdrawal that's extensive, okay, and characterized by a whole lot of extensive sadness. Okay, postpartum depression is characterized by extensive sadness that impairs daily functioning. One of the basic symptoms of postpartum depression is weeping spells. Okay, it's a popular knowledge that when mothers give birth, oftentimes they experience some form of withdrawal, which is referred to as baby blues. Not all mothers would experience this, but some mothers do experience it, and the time frame is usually between the first day, second day of the delivery to about 2 weeks. Okay, a mother would sometimes experience a form of withdrawal. She might out of the stress, due to the stress that she had experienced while she was in labor and all of this, might put her in a withdrawal state where she's just trying to recoup. She's stressed from the delivery, so she's a little bit tired, she's cranky, and this oftentimes would fade away within the first 2 weeks of the delivery. But in situations where it extends for more than 2 weeks, such a form of withdrawal might not necessarily be postnatal blues any longer. It might be tilting towards postpartum depression. The features of postpartum depression includes weeping spells. The mother would often cry at a very frequent rate that she might not even be able to explain the reason why she's crying. Oftentimes she would weep for unnecessary things. She would cry extensively. A level of tolerance would have reduced. She would not be able to tolerate even the minutest form of frustration, and then she will just burst into tears, and this might linger for a very long period of time. There's also the low level libido. Now, oftentimes when a woman is already experiencing postpartum depression, or she's already presenting symptoms of postnatal depression, she might oftentimes experience low level libido, in the sense that such a woman might not be readily excited or sexually aroused. Okay, now in situations where the husband or the partner is making advances towards the wife and is expecting the woman to fulfill her role as a wife to him, she might not be able to do this. Okay, it becomes increasingly difficult for her to want to have sex, because in this state of depression, she would not be able to experience pleasurable things. She would have lost her ability to enjoy pleasurable things. Okay, so she might not be readily available to have sex due to reduced libido. She might also be experiencing what we call a significant level of guilt. Now, this significant level of guilt, it's cascading on the fact that because she's presently not being able to cater to the child or nurse the baby as is required of her socially, and she's also not able to respond to her husband sexually. this would create a form of guilt for her, in the sense that she might begin to feel bad or feel less of herself as a woman because she's not worthy of being referred to as a mother, not being able, because she's not able to give care to her child, and also not able to fulfill her role as a wife to her husband. So this might create a significant level of guilty feeling that she would feel extensively, that might also, further plunge her into a state of withdrawal or a state of depression. Oftentimes, people who experience depression, just like I mentioned, they lack the ability to enjoy the things that they engaged in previously that gave them pleasure. Such people would also experience low level appetite. They would not be able to eat. But in some rare cases, people will experience, mothers who are already experiencing postpartum depression might overindulge in eating. Okay, that is referred to as emotional eating or emotional feeding. Now, in this situation, because she's in a state of withdrawal and she's desperately in need of something to bring her out of this gloomy feeling or this moody feeling that she's experiencing, she will want to really engage in things that often give her pleasure while she wasn't in the state of depression. So sometimes, in rare situations, mothers might overindulge themselves in eating and then become even more obese. Okay, and at other times, they might not, they might lack appetite. Mothers who are experiencing withdrawal, who are already in a state of depression, would often be very aggressive. Sometimes they might express some form of aggression. Now, this is born out of the frustration that they feel, not being able to explain what exactly their challenge is. Okay, at some point they might experience certain level of aggression. There's also the symptom of not being able to function in as regards nursing of the child. Now, at this point, when mothers are already experiencing full-blown postpartum depression, they are oftentimes unable to breastfeed the child. Okay, they might not be able to breastfeed. They might not be able to engage themselves in the daily chores or similar activities requiring the nursing of the child. Okay, now this might also result into increased level of anxiety. Mothers might also experience some form of anxiety, and this is also a symptom of postpartum depression. So these symptoms I've already mentioned are just the basic of or most immediate symptoms that a woman who is experiencing postpartum depression would experience. There are also causes of postpartum depression. Now, oftentimes when a woman is pregnant during the period or the trimesters of pregnancy, mothers will experience hormonal change. Now, these hormonal changes might predispose a woman or a mother to becoming depressed. There's the issue of heredity. Now, in situations where a woman is born into a family where they might have, or at some point in the generation, they might have experienced certain level of maladaptive behavior or certain level of mental disorder, this might predispose such a woman to experiencing depression after a child is born, and that's just an hereditary factor. Another very relevant cause of postpartum depression oftentimes is as a result of the level of expectations that women or mothers do have as regards the pregnancy. Sometimes mothers are very keen or very apt to believe that as soon as their child is born, they would lose up the baby fat, and then they will go back into shape and become as beautiful as they used to be when they were not pregnant. But sadly, this is not so. Okay, the sad truth is that mothers would not, your body will probably not be the same as it used to be before you became pregnant. Okay, so this level of disappointment that they oftentimes would experience because of the level of expectation that they initially had about recovery might predispose the mother to becoming depressed as a result of losing a self-worth. Oftentimes when she's not able to regain this full body shape or figure eight, like they often would refer to it as, they become disappointed, they begin to experience certain level of low esteem and self-worth. Now this might also create some tension within her, create internal conflicts that might predispose her to becoming depressed after the child is born. Alright, basically concerning the men are also not left out during this gloomy period of postpartum depression. Oftentimes, I argue on behalf of the men that while the woman is also going through postpartum depression, some men do go through postpartum depression as well. There's the issue of financial challenges, trying to provide upkeep for the child and the mother. All of these financial challenges that the man might be going through might predispose the man as well to becoming depressed, as a result of not being able to make up for all of these requirements. So men also do go through postpartum depression. However, while the woman is going through postpartum depression, there's a lot of support or a lot of help that could come from the partner that would help hasten the recovery rate of a woman who's experiencing postpartum depression. Take for example, a priceless support such as just being emotionally available for the woman can help her recover from postpartum depression. Now, how does that work? If the partner is readily available to support her, help her with nursing the child, help her with the house chores, help giving her that feeling that, look, I'm here to support you, I understand what you're going through. The feeling of I understand you, a little bit of empathy, can help the woman recover faster than a woman who does not have a partner readily available to support. Okay, emotional support is very key in this period while the woman is going through postpartum depression. Aside the emotional support that the partner can give, it's also very much advisable that the partner can request or call for help, professional help for the woman. And you can reach out to PSN Africa. That's basically what we do here. Postpartum Support Africa is a network that offers education about postpartum depression. We create awareness about it. We offer treatment and also offer support, and this is completely free because it's a not-for-profit organization. You can reach out to psychiatric department of any general hospital and request for help. First, I understand what form of difficulty that might be for her. I would advise such a woman to seek support. Okay, in PSN Africa, there's something we call the peer-to-peer support group. The peer-to-peer support group is a group of mothers who some have gone through depression at some point of their child delivery and all of these things. They've gone through these challenges and they've sought for help and they've gotten help. Now the group is put together in order to support women who are having such challenge as the mother or the woman you mentioned earlier. Now this form of group would help her by encouraging her to stay strong, stay focused, get medical care. Okay, and from other people's experiences, I think it's a daily thing for people. When you hear other people's experiences, they're able to draw strength. You can get inspiration from that as well. So she will be able to get such support, get motivation, get inspiration, and also very importantly get information and education about the situation that she's going through, and she can better manage it. One very key symptom about postpartum depression is the suicidal ideation itself. Okay, women who are experiencing severe postpartum depression would oftentimes, out of the confusion, begin to contemplate suicide. Okay, in the past 2 years, in the course of my practice, I've had about mothers attempting suicide. More than I've had in the past 10 years. So it's increasingly becoming a thing of concern. Okay, mothers contemplating suicide, even trying to harm their baby or kill their baby. Now, in situations where postpartum depression lingers on, it might become serious, and then such a mother might begin to experience psychotic symptoms. Now, this is no longer postpartum depression, this is postpartum psychosis. Okay, postpartum psychosis involves the mother presenting symptoms where she has actually lost touch with reality. She's no longer fully functional, and she has become not just harm to herself alone, but also she has become dangerous to that child. I mean, we've had situations where mothers try to strangle their baby. It's something we've seen and we've heard of. So basically, postpartum psychosis, it's a severe form of postpartum depression. Thank you very much.